Barbara, change of tack now. Let's look at crop circles revealed.
Okay.
And just the term crop circles, it fascinates people. Why?
Well, such a mysterious thing um, that a farmer will suddenly go out in his field one day and a field of beautiful growing wheat or barley or oilseed canola or whatever. And then there, by surprise, is a great big pattern laid down in the field. And when that pattern is photographed from above, such as from a helicopter or a plane or so forth, um, that they show up to be beautiful, beautiful patterns. They're not just random doodles or crop laid down,
Yeah,
willy-nilly.
yeah,
They're beautiful constructed patterns, and a lot of them seem to have meaning to us even, like a Christian cross or a Jewish menorah or Arabic symbols in some cases, some of our major religion traditions. And then the other symbols are probably very meaningful to what I am guessing would be a race of beings out there in space who come here and make these patterns. Anyway, it's a big mysterious phenomenon,
yeah.
and people still wonder, although this has been going on really since the 1980s, or a few simple circles in centuries before that. But anyway, since about the 1980s, people started really paying attention to this, and the patterns were becoming much more complex and huge. And so people definitely wonder about it. And still, with all the research that I and many others have done in England every summer on the crop circle phenomenon, it's still an unknown mystery. We don't really know, who makes them all or why,
Yeah. Well,
or what the meaning of the whole phenomenon is.
that's the question is are they created just because aliens can, or is there a message within the actual pattern that we're supposed to decipher, or is the message not for us but for other aliens?
Oh, what great questions. First of all, we don't know absolutely for sure that these patterns are done by extraterrestrial beings, but I personally feel very strongly that that's where they're coming from. They're coming from above, they're coming from another intelligence that is off our planet, most likely from what we consider extraterrestrial beings from other planets out there in the cosmos. Um, so I think my first take when I was very first aware that there was such a thing as crop circles, I was at a big lecture forum, and I noticed in the program for the lectures that there was a little funny picture, turned out to be a crop circle, but I didn't know what it was, a little pattern. And the title of the lecture was going to be something like Mysterious Patterns in the Fields of Britain. Well, I saw that and immediately had a big, what felt like an explosion of light
Hmm.
through my body.
Wow.
I don't know what that was, but that's what it felt like. And I immediately, with that flash, had the thought, oh, we're being communicated with from beings out there.
Hmm.
Now, at that time, that was several months before I ever did my first regression with a person who was having extraterrestrial experiences. The crop circles came first in my life by
Yeah.
6 months or so. Anyway, I went to that lecture about crop circles and saw a lot of pictures of them taken from the air and some video footage of them. And halfway through that lecture, I slapped my thigh and said to myself, that's it. I'm going to England next summer to check this out.
Wow.
And my first summer there was a moment with some other crop circle researchers I serendipitously happened to combine with. Um, and a picture of a new crop circle had come in that had just appeared that day. And it was such a remarkable pattern. And I immediately found myself raising my hand and saying, I'm in, which meant to me, I am dedicating myself to this for the rest of my life. And I have been.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's an amazing thing. And so we can only guess about what the purpose is, but it certainly seems to be kind of a wake up call. I think for a lot of people, uh, knowing about the crop circles makes them think, gee, maybe there's more to reality than we have thought. Maybe there's something else that we haven't known about that's doing these patterns. What could that be?
Hmm.
So a lot of people have sort of awakened to the reality about extraterrestrial life because of the crop circle pattern. And then, in all fairness, we have to say that there are many beings, many people who don't think in those terms at all. That's perfectly okay. And they think it's pulled, that they think the crop circles were pulled down somehow from the earth, as if the earth somehow has these patterns in it and is affecting the plants in that way. There really are quite a number of different theories. And even to this very moment, I don't think anybody knows
No,
the whole truth
no, there's
about.
still a mystery. Has anyone ever actually seen one created other than the hoaxes?
I have not seen one created, but I have talked to people who have seen them created. And they've seen different things. Like some people have seen a beam of light coming down from the sky and in the daytime, and also sometimes in the nighttime. And then when they look out in that field that the beams seem to be coming down into, there is a new crop circle. So it seems like the crop circle was made by the beam of light. Now, other people have seen balls of light. We can call them orbs, but they seem to be quite solid and glowing. They've seen balls of light coming across a crop field and laying down the crop in the pattern as the balls are crossing the field. In fact, there's a video of that from 1996 of a lovely crop circle in Wiltshire, England, having been made by two balls of light sort of sweeping across the field, and
Wow.
then the next moment, another two sweeping back across the field. And you can just see in the video that as these balls of light, just two at a time, are sweeping across the field, maybe about 20 feet or so, it looks like above the top of the crop, that instantly, as that's happening, this beautiful pattern is being laid down. And then there have been some witnesses of a different way, which is that a couple of people have seen, walking by the edge of a field, they've seen almost like an invisible um, ruffling
Right.
of the top of the crop, but they don't see what's ruffling it. It's as if
No.
it's a wind just in that one particular place and ruffling over the crop and then seeming to disappear. And when they went out in the field to check that area, they saw there was a new crop circle
Crop
there.
circle. Okay.
Those are the three methods that have been actually witnessed for the making of a crop
Yeah.
circle.
Because there is a difference between the genuine and the hoax circles, because the genuine circles do have a certain kind of energy within them.
Yes, you're so right. So I think that we definitely can tell the difference between a genuine crop circle made by the unknown phenomenon and man-made ones. There are some man-made ones, I know that, and I have met and talked to several of the hoaxers,
Hmm.
and even at great length, like a whole evening at a time. And so I know that that does go on. But the ones that are made by people, the hoaxers, you see, they are stomped down. They are pushed over with
Right.
boards, pushed by a foot. And so, in the stomping down of the plants to make a man made crop circle, that breaks the connection between the plants and their
Yeah.
roots.
Yep.
Therefore, the plants die. So, even by the next day, if you go into a man made crop circle, the plants look and are dead. Now, let's compare this to what we consider the genuine crop circles that are just laid over very gently, and there is no breaking of the plant. So the plants are completely connected still with their roots, and therefore they keep growing and ripening and coming to full maturity. So when you walk into a man-made crop circle, at least I've learned over the years to discern that not only is there no energy there, but the crops look just really flat
Yeah.
and dead. And they are dead, so no wonder. But in the genuine crop circles, you go in and, oh, there is a wonderful feeling. It's subtle, but it's wonderful of energy. And that energy can be measured with electrostatic voltmeters, magnetometers, microwave detectors, if it's a very, very recently made crop circle, and pendulums and dowsing rods.
Right.
Favored using dowsing rods over the years. And though all of those mechanisms would definitely indicate that there's a real change, a real increase in energy in those crop circles, which we consider the genuine ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Last question on crop circles. Is there a connection between the genuine crop circles? In other words, we talked about the message in the crop circles, but is it possible that the message could be as from a collective of the crop circles that are laid in different parts of the world?
Do you mean, is there a connection between the messages?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, there certainly could be. It seems if you take just one country, like England, where most of the crop circles have been happening until very recently, till last year, in fact. But England certainly has had the largest collection of crop circles over the years. And it seems like there's a whole array of different symbols, like a large collection of symbols, should we say. Um, and I don't know of anyone who has put together a collection of crop circles all over the world, but there could be an overall pattern there that we just don't know about. There was one lecture I gave a few years ago on worldwide crop circles. So I did as much research as I possibly could on the internet to find crop circles that had happened all over the world. And I must say that I did not see a continuing pattern
Right.
amongst all of those.
Yeah.
It could be a pattern that we just don't recognize. Or it's possible, of course, that there is a human being who does recognize an overall pattern.
Yeah.
But if that's true, it's not known to me.
Okay. That's in Crop Circles Revealed, Barbara's book. There was a quote in the book, or a line that went, "The Holy Grail and the esoteric bloodline of Christ and the house of David." Can you remember that? I was trying to figure out
Yes,
what
from
that
the
meant.
yes, that material comes from a wonderful woman named Judith Moore.
Right.
And we were co-authors on that Crop Circle book. She did channeling from an 11th dimensional being
Wow.
who called herself Leolin. So the reason that we even got together to write the book Crop Circles Revealed, and this was in 1999 that we
Hmm.
met and decided to write the book. The reason for that is that I had um, 9 years so far of crop circle research that I had already done. She had never heard of crop circles before at all. And we met at a conference where I was speaking about crop circles. So I had a whole bunch of pictures, probably 40 pictures of different crop circles laid out on a table for her to see because she asked about it. And she looked at those pictures, and after just a few of them, she sat down and sort of held her head and she said, "Oh, I'm getting some information." Well, I had not known her before that, and I did not know that she was a channel. But anyway, she received a channel message about these crop circles that she was seeing the pictures of. And and the information was incredible, using terms that we had never ever heard of, but were uh, about the mechanics and higher perspectives
Hmm.
of things, a much more universal perspective. And at the end of her channeling for several of these pictures, the channel, the message to to her as the channel was that you and Barbara are going to write a book about this because Barbara knows everything about the crop circles from the human point of view, and you can receive the information from our 11th dimensional point of view. So, from that point of view, these crop circles have incredible meaning that I think is beyond most of our comprehension,
Right.
coming from that very, very high dimensional perspective. But anyway, let's say that they have dimensions of meaning, these crop circles do. And so our perspective about crop circles is very, very limited compared to what there is to know really about the meaning of the crop circles. So in the second half of the book, Crop Circles Revealed, it's all the channeled information. And some of the information, well, in fact, most of it was so complicated from our human point of view,
Hmm.
and that she actually gave these readings to a couple of different scientists who could explain what the channeling meant in terms that we, especially non scientific people,
Yeah.
could understand. So, fortunately, all of the material that she presented in her half of the book, the channeled information, is something that is much more high-minded than most of us know about or think in terms of, and yet is said in a way that we can understand it
Yeah.
to quite an
That
extent.
that's I haven't heard of like 11th dimensional before. That's really, I mean, I hear about races like the Arcturians who are, I think, 5th dimensional, but 11th, I mean, it's just hard to fathom.
That's way up there.
Yeah.
That, that is really, and one of my experiencer clients, by the way, had in her regression, was taken to a spaceship on one occasion. And well, she had many occasions, but on this one particular one, taken to a spaceship. And there was a glowing being sitting, looked like sitting in sort of a throne like chair on the spaceship. Anyway, she had to really look through all this huge aura of white glow
Mhm.
in order to see that in the middle of the glow was a being. And the being started talking to her telepathically and telling her many things, including that she herself had originally been an 11th dimensional being like this being was. She had once been a radiant being of light
Wow.
a long time ago. And then at a certain point, she had volunteered to come to planet Earth in order to help them, the 11th dimensional beings, to understand what life on Earth was like, because life on Earth is so very different,
Hmm.
so dense and so physical. So, anyway, in her next incarnation, she came to Earth as a human. And then, as this being said, because she was here on Earth as a human, she built up residue. He said, you tend to call it karma, but she built
Right.
up residue just by being a human being living here. And that meant that in her next incarnation, she had to come back again.
I'm back again. Yeah.
And in that next one, she built up some more residue or karma and came back. So he said she has been here now for 6 incarnations as a human on Earth, although basically, originally and at soul level, she's one of the 11th dimensional beings. So then he did the most remarkable thing, which I still am dazzled by, and that is that he told her the 5 major karmic or residue issues that she needed to clear up before she could stop incarnating on Earth and could go back into her true essence of being an 11th dimensional being. I mean, what a gift
Hmm.
that he told her which are her issues to work out. You see, I think, Dean, that all of us have karmic issues to work out. But in most cases, we probably don't even know what they are,
No, I mean,
or we don't know that we have them. But
can you,
but
can
we
you,
do, and we keep coming back
yeah,
lifetime after lifetime.
can you relate to us what those 5 issues she had were?
I don't remember that regression we did in about 1998, and I got them in
Wow.
my notes somewhere. But
But it,
I've done so many, well, a few thousand, several thousand regressions since then, and I
yeah,
I
but
just don't remember.
it just
That's why I
shows,
take notes.
yeah, I mean, it just shows the, I guess the arrogance of humans to think that, or some humans to think that we could be the only life that exists in the universe. And you talk about an 11th dimensional being is probably millions, if not billions of years old.
Yes. Oh, who knows? Probably so. Maybe from the very beginning, whatever that means about the beginning. I
Yeah.
just don't know. But yes, I mean, I think you see, it's a big stretch for many people to think that there really is a physical universe full of physical beings whom we tend to refer to as extraterrestrials or aliens. I don't like to use the word alien because I have found that so many of the beings of different species are are truly wonderful, in many ways more wonderful than most of us are.
Hmm.
So I don't like to categorize them all as aliens. But anyway, it is a big stretch that uh, for people to realize that there is a universe full of other very intelligent beings. And then, in addition to that, now we're becoming more and more aware that there are different dimensions of reality and different dimensions of beings. I think a lot of people are becoming more and more aware that after we die, there is another realm,
Yeah.
another dimension that our souls, our consciousness exists in. That seems to be growing quite nicely because of certain people who've written wonderful books about this. I really applaud them tremendously and have gained a lot from that. Um, so that's happening, I think, in terms of world consciousness. More people, although maybe not nearly enough, but
Yeah. Yeah.
more people are becoming aware that there is some other realm beyond this one that is non-physical. And then some people are becoming aware that there are many other dimensions beside that dimension, or even in the dimension that we go to after we physically
Right.
die
Yep.
and our consciousness, our spirit, our soul goes to. Even within that realm, there are various dimensions
Yeah,
too.
it's amazing.
And then, well, I mean, who knows how many dimensions there are in reality? I've heard some physicists talk about their awareness of 33 different dimensions. And maybe there are even more than that.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you see, when we think in those terms, and then we think about our lives on Earth and all the little noogey googey petty things that
Hmm.
that go on here. Oh boy, it really,
And I put my hand. I've been guilty of it.
yeah,
Barbara, we're
we have a
almost.
lot to learn.
Yes, yeah. We're almost out of time, but just quickly, the Alien Experiences books, there are two. Um, you've interviewed or you've worked with hundreds of individuals. Just one question: was there a common theme among the people that you worked with, among all the contactees?
Well, commonalities are such that a person has the beginning of an experience. In other words, they might be driving along and the experience happens, or walking outdoors, or they might be in their room or anywhere. And the beings who have chosen to work with them will come and take them away. And if the person is inside, like in the bedroom at night, they'll take them right through the wall and without any harm to the person, and through the air and into a craft, and then a whole variety of things happens to the person depending on the type of beings who have taken that person and what their agendas are. And what I see again and again and again is that there's usually a grouping of beings on the UFO, a grouping of different species
Hmm.
that will work with the person.
That is very common.
Yeah, that seems very, very common. And then very often, a person who experiences this sort of thing has one particular being who seems to be like a mentor or a teacher that goes through that life with that person. And the person, in my experience in regressing people, um, that there's a bond there, a familiarity and a bond, and that mentor is viewed as being very helpful to the person.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there are other beings. You see, there are so many different kinds of extraterrestrial beings who take people. I've heard of many, many different types. And some of them we do not appreciate being taken by. They seem to be more self-serving.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them seem to be more scientifically interested in how our bodies work. Some of them seem to be much more focused on creating hybrid beings. And they have a whole bunch of different reasons for that, some of which totally make sense. And then some of the beings don't do those things at all, but they teach and train the people they're taking. They teach them how
Yep.
to do healing, for instance, and how to use their minds to gather accurate information, how to be able to speak and know what people are thinking telepathically, and teach them a whole bunch of psychic skills, which these people come back and actually use on Earth. Some of them are teaching them about these star systems and the universe, the physical universe. Some are teaching them about other dimensions. It's really amazing what people are being instructed about in these experiences. So it's a tremendous variety. And I've been regressing, well over 2,000 people to ET experiences. And some of them have had many regressions. So I've done probably about 4,500 regressions to extraterrestrial encounters. And so through all of that work, I've realized there are lots of different beings who come, interact with people, and lots of different agendas. And any one person who's experiencing this at all might, on one occasion, have an experience with a certain type of being or a certain group. And then on another encounter experience, they might be with very different kinds of extraterrestrial beings.
Yep.
So for the people whom I've had the great pleasure of regressing quite a number of times, 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 times, um, you know, each one of those people has had experiences with quite a variety of extraterrestrial beings.
Yeah. Barbara,
It's never just the same thing over and over again
no.
for any one person.
Last question. For people watching this who feel that they're ready to discover who they really are, and they're ready to try regression therapy, two questions. Firstly, can they be comfortable on the knowledge knowing that it's safe, and who do they contact?
Well, there are various people doing this work. I can give my email address. That's a good way
Yep.
if anybody is interested in contacting me. And the email address, it's kind of long, is, so I'm pausing. So if anybody wants to, they can get out a paper and a
Well,
pen.
I'll publish the
Anyway,
email address too.
what's that?
I'll publish it as well for people to
Oh,
contact you.
okay. But I'll just mention then more quickly. It's Barbara dot Lamb, Lamb, dot therapist at gmail.com.
Okay.
That's the best way to contact me.
Fantastic. Meet the Hybrids, Crop Circles Revealed, and 2 editions of Alien Experiences. People can get these books simply by visiting Amazon?
Yes, yes, they're all available on Amazon. And I'd also like to mention that currently I'm very excited because I'm working on a new book for children this time. This is for children and for the parents who might be reading the book to
Right.
the children. And it's
Okay.
completely about children's extraterrestrial experiences. So it's a picture book with information under each picture. And it's told by the point of view of a
A
child
child.
who is having these experiences.
Wow.
So we've got so far 18 different scenarios pictured and written about that children whom I know from my work have had these types
Yeah.
of experiences with these types of beings. And so it's it's actually emphasizing the positive feelings that some of the children I have worked with actually have about their extraterrestrial experiences.
Fantastic. I look forward to seeing that. Barbara, thanks very much. It's been a fascinating discussion. I knew it would be, and I hope we can talk again soon.
Oh, I'd like to. Thank you for doing what you do, helping to bring out all this information for people.
Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate
Great.
that. Barbara Lamb joining us today.